Hello and welcome back to Strongwoman High's Life is a Mishmash. Today we have a very special guest, fresh off of the Lightweight Masters competition this weekend. We have Lucy Hardwick joining the show. Welcome, Lucy.
Thank you. With my coffee, just propping up my eyelids, kind of keeping me going. But thank you. And thanks for inviting me. I've been really excited.
No
Talking
problem.
this subject, especially with other women that are strong and badass like you. It's going to be great fun.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. No, I love it. I feel like it's very well needed. Monday morning coffee. It's like, especially after a weekend of competing. As you can hear, obviously my voice is a bit fucked too, because I was competing too. So I think we're both a bit battered and bruised, but we'll get through this. We'll get through this.
It's not me. I did the black of all centuries. I pretended to my middle son that I hadn't forgotten he was going on a school trip. And I pretended that I meant to stop at the co-op on the way to get him a packed lunch. And it was a treat. And I just did a really good blag. I was like, when he went, "Where's my packed lunch?" And I was like, "Oh, I thought we'd just get one from the shops." And I was like, God, that was a good save. That was brilliant.
A special treat for a Monday morning. The only problem is if he listens to this now, he'll know.
He did actually say to me, "Are you wearing that?" I was like, "What do you mean by that?" And he was like, "Aren't you going to put something normal on?" And I was like, "But this is my like, I don't get this conversation. When do I ever wear anything different?" And he was a bit like, "Oh, fair enough. Enjoy." Got out of the car with his sandwich.
Very fair, very fair. Well, do you want to give a brief introduction, then elevator pitch to who you are, what you're all about for people on the pod, Lucy?
Thank you. I will put it out there. I feel really strongly to represent the nearly 50-year-old women, the single mums, the women that I'm very fortunate in the gym I train at that there's a lot of very strong men and strong men that we see often on the television. And they will openly say to me, the stuff we do in the gym is nothing as hard as like raising kids on your own, dealing with all the shit that we deal with. And, so many women that say to me, especially like the school mums, "Oh, I can never do what you do." And I've said to them so many times, you could, it is not as hard as, sorting out in my case, three little humans trying to do it semi well. And so I feel really strongly that they need to be shown that, women with muscles need to be shown. I've got three boys and I don't want them growing up, whoever they choose to be within life, a man or a woman, I want them to know that there's a whole set of looks and a way of life that might be seen as unconventional to some people, but it's not really that unconventional. Mummy represents that. Mummy's friends, they will often say, "I bet you'd be friends with that person over there." And I'm like, yeah, I would, because I like that, the kind of beat to the different drum. I like that walk of life that's a little bit different, that makes people be like, "Ooh," and I really want to teach my boys that they've got this all to come. Like, if you go out there and you're fearless in life, don't be a dick, of course, but
Yeah.
if you're fearless, like, you can have a really great life and you can do things that you never, like when I used to watch, I always say this to Loz, when I watched him on the television, I'd sit with my dad. To think now that I go to those events, I train with those guys, I talk to these people, like, it just felt like a world that was so inaccessible to me.
Yeah.
And now I feel like, God, what will it be like in 10 years' time? It's going to be so different. So when you said to me to come on the podcast, I was like, well, I'm a carer for one of my sons. There might be just one single mum. There might be somebody out there who's dealing with a lot of shit that you could actually watch this and be like, "Do you know what? I could go in and pick up that bar with metal plates at the side and it's really not that hard." So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's me.
Hell yeah. I love that. So when did you start training, Lucy? Like, what was your background in training? Have you trained for a long time or is it pretty new?
So I'd always trained. When I was married, my husband was in the military. And I was told for a long time that I couldn't have children. So we'd adopted two children. So I was able to have quite a fit lifestyle. So I did like a lot of what would probably be called as like, functional fitness, cross training, things like that. Um, don't block me. Yeah, but I saw your face then. You're like,
No, we don't mind CrossFit here. We're all right about it as long as it goes into Strongwoman.
and then at 40, I fell pregnant. So kind of that was tricky having like a baby being, it's not that old to some people, but it was quite old for me. Then it was COVID. And there was just this time when we couldn't do anything. We were just stuck. And then really towards the end of COVID, I was like, right, how do I want my life to be? I've always wanted to do this. The people that I mixed with before COVID were just like, well, no, you can't do that. Why would you want to be bigger? Why would you want to be a woman with muscles? Cliche. Why would you want to look like a man? Like, and I used to believe that shit. And now, when I became a single parent during COVID, I had to kind of really deal with things that were frightening. So again, that mindset of like, well, going into a big bodybuilding gym, that doesn't bother me. So what? And it just became addictive. So it would probably I've been competing about 3 years, and I'd probably say I've been just training it about, like 4 or 5 years. And doing like that first beginners competition was just the best thing ever. Like that difference between training and competing, it's just such a different feeling. But that first competition just really made me feel alive. Like I think I came second. I mean, there might have only been 2 of us. I think it literally was like, it was nothing special in that way, but to step out in front of a room of people and be like, let's go on that first whistle. I still remember it. And I just felt like, yeah, I was invincible after that. So, it's
Yeah.
taken a long time. But like I said, I juggle it with 3 small children.
Insane. That's insane. It is crazy. I bet your life is just so busy. You'll be like one of them people that's scheduled with everything, are you? Like, just
Yeah.
always, all the time, doing something.
I think I can deal with like the chaos of events. Like when you go to a comp and suddenly the organizer goes, yeah, well, we're not going to let belt cleans, and like the ripple in the crowd, people are like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I'm still like, feeding one a sandwich, doing up my shoe. I'm just like, what? Yeah, that's fine. Right. Let's go. Like it just, when you live on chaos, I think something like strongman, this sport, it does lend itself very well because that little adrenaline kick, like I probably experience it probably in the negative way about 10 times a day because I have to be so reactive with my children. So
Yeah.
literally when I'm going to a comp, like not much will phase me because I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm used to that. Let's go.
Yeah, class. I love that. Well, tell us a little bit about the competition you've just done then. So the lightweight masters was on Saturday, wasn't it? And that was for Unbreakables. Was that Brits? Was that
Yeah.
Brits Masters?
It was Brits. So I
Amazing.
did Brits lightweight masters last year. And the year before that, I did Brits Masters because there was no lightweight. So they're kind of like the trajectory is a bit like this. But I'd certainly always done it at the NEC in November time. And I think AG
Mm,
wanted to bring it to Gloucester Keys in the summer. So this fell quite early for us. Like a lot of like the Lush girls that I compete with, they didn't do it because they'd signed up for other comps because nobody really knew that it was going to be moved. But it was a really good turnout for the lightweights. I want to say like 5, 6 of us. It was it was a bit of a blur for me. And we definitely had more lightweights than the Opens Masters women. But the fields in both were just phenomenal. And everybody there like has their thing that they do. And I know every group will love their group, but I love competing with the Masters women. Um, and I don't know if it's just because it's this kind of life has worn you down in other areas. You're not so precious about things. I don't know. It just,
yeah.
if someone is stronger than you, like I was against Tiff Peters, who is just phenomenal, but
Insane, yeah.
I love going against her. Like I would never throw shade on anyone for being stronger than me because I'm just like, I know I train hard. So, and I know that she trains hard because I see it and she lives it and she breathes it. And I love competing against her because she just makes me a better athlete. When I step out there, I just feel like, come on, you've really got to show up. And yeah, and like Claire Myler in the opens, we just had so many great women. It was such a buzz amongst us. It
Yeah.
was brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. I feel like there just wasn't much posted about that, to be honest. I mean, I know this with the weekend that just gone is like there was so many competitions going on, but I feel like I didn't know at all. I didn't know that that comp was going on at all until I'd seen like Claire Myler post about it, and I was just like, what? Why is Brits Masters like then? And like, why has there been no promotion of that? But I guess sometimes Unbreakables are really good at promoting, and sometimes they're like they almost just forget that they're meant to promote the competitions. I feel like,
Like I know it doesn't really matter who you're going against, but I had no idea. I knew Tiff because we bumped into each other a few weeks ago and she went, "Oh, I'm doing it." And I was like, "Oh, great."
yeah,
But I was like, "Are there two of us? Are there?" Like, I had no idea. So when I turned up and like the opens girls were like, "Oh my God, like your group is really showing up today. This is going to be good." And I was like, "Who's doing it?" And like, so it really blew my mind. But I think every one of us was the same as you. Like, we didn't really know who was doing it, which is good.
yeah.
But yeah, it would, I think, to raise the profile, you want that healthy competition, don't you? You want people being like, "Oh, she's doing it." As long as it's managed right, or certainly in my opinion, I think it's
100%,
good.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
think it's part of it, isn't it? Because that's what like we've just done it for that Queen of the Jungle. Like, well, there was loads of people like we were messaging each other and carrying on a bit and like having a bit of a laugh about beforehand. And like as well, yeah, I just feel like sometimes Unbreakables just need to promote a little bit more because like that's a big competition. Brits Masters is a huge competition, and like no one knew what was going on. Like no one knew what was happening. So like.
and I'm
Yeah,
sure
it's a bit of a bizarre one, but was
to say like, and I'm sure Claire won't mind me saying this. Like she said to me, she was like, "Oh, I don't want people to almost be like, oh, why is Claire doing this?" But I was like, this is a big competition. This is Brits Masters. And you have every right to do this competition. And it is not
yeah.
easy. So I said to her, I am so proud when I see your name at a competition that I am doing. I am just like, people are going to come and watch that. And it was free. And like, I really felt like so many people would have given their right arm to see Claire Myler in like the middle of Gloucester Keys, like repping out. I said to her, are you gonna swap those weights and do like a cheeky 400 deadlift just to keep us on our toes? But she's there like repping it out. And I'm looking and thinking, that's world's strongest master, because I think she got both of them at OSG last year. Didn't she get the 40s and the 50s? And I'm
Yeah.
looking at her like, that's world's strongest woman in two categories, just there giving a free show to these people. And yeah, like I think more people would have loved to have watched it.
Yeah, like if people had known like Claire was doing it, well, even all of you, like you could have promoted that so well to like get loads of people down to watch all you guys compete. Like that would have been such a cool thing to do. But yeah, I do feel like Unbreakable sometimes drop the baton a little bit on the whole promotion of their competitions. But I mean, that's another story for another day. But was the actual comp day good? Did you enjoy it? How did
I
it go? Give us a little rundown of the events and stuff.
Okay, so the first one was a deadlift, axle deadlift, 165 for us lightweights. And I want to say I think it was either 170 or 175 for the opens. I was very, very lucky because Tiff's name got pulled out before mine. So when she went out and smashed out 15 reps, I was like, I'm just going to take that second. I'm not going to do a shitty 13, 14 reps, kill myself, not beat her and waste that energy. I knew the next person. So, because I went last, but I was on my own. So I'd seen everybody's. So it was either beat 7 for second or get 16. So I was like, I've got to go 8. But the funny thing is, like, people were like, yeah, that was a really good game plan, Lucy. And I was like, fuck, I don't think I could have got more than 8. To be perfectly honest, I was being all like, yeah, that was the game plan. And I was thinking, God, that killed me because I didn't wear a suit because it was so hot. And so I kind of just thought, let's just go for this. But the bar was slipping in my hand. Oh, I felt so uncomfortable. I love my deadlifts, but I did not enjoy that. And then we had 65 axle overhead. That was good. Again, Tiff, she won that one. I think she got 6. Tatiana and somebody else got 5, and I got 4 and wasted energy with a ridiculous dance of a 5th attempt rep. So we're just trying to wipe that one out. I was like, oh my God, what's going on? Then the Dinny Stones went horrendously for me. And bear in mind, I had practiced that a lot with Loz. I could have actually got in my car and gone home after that. I was like, what is going on? So I came last in that one. And I was
Yeah.
so cross with myself. And I just had to have that word with myself and be like, I felt really like, it was almost like emotional because I was like, Loz had put so much time into helping me, like with the Dinny Stones. And it was like I had butter in my hands. It wasn't the weight. It was just sliding out of my hands. And I was mortified. And I just felt like I'd really let him down. And all I could think was him saying to me, you'll only let me down if you stop trying. That's it. That's the only time I'll be disappointed. And so I had to go out first for the sandbag throws because I've been last in the Dinnies. And I was just like, fucking bring it, Lucy. And I smashed that one and I came first. So I was like, I knew on the last stone to shoulder to get the podium, I had to, minimum was second place. I just had to go for it. And luckily, where I went out against Tatiana, I could kind of be like, we were 1 rep each. We were like a dance act. We were almost like Mel and Kim in unison with each other. And
Yeah.
then we got 2 reps and I just like looked forward and I just was like, you have got to get this last rep. That if you don't get this, you are not getting on the podium. And I don't know where it came from. And I just got that last rep with Stuart Murray being like 5, 4, and I just got it. So I managed to get the 3 reps, which got me to second.
Hell
So I just sneaked onto the 3rd place podium, which I was like, that's all I wanted. All I wanted was a podium spot.
Class.
But it was hard work. I made it harder than it needed to be. I'm not going to lie. And I've got to really assess if I am cut out for competing in hot weather because I don't think, I feel like a little air conditioned, maybe some trips to Iceland is what I need. But I'm just like, God, this is awful. Yeah, it was really hard.
Yeah, the heat is so different. I know Saturday, because with that competition I did at Flamingo Land was on the Saturday, and it was like red hot Saturday, wasn't
Yeah,
it? And
yeah,
Sunday was a little bit cooler. But
yeah,
I say a bit cooler. I am so sunburned. Like I'm so horrifically sunburned, and it is tricky the training in the heat and the competing in the heat, isn't it? But I also love it. Like, I'm a hot weather person. I never used to be. I never
yeah.
used to deal with this very well, but right now, like, I love this, me. If it could be 30 degrees every day, I'd be over the moon. Like, stay like
Yeah,
that.
I definitely agree with that. I've got this kind of like Venice Beach mindset. And I'm like, yeah, I could be like with the 80s guys out in the open gym doing that. I just don't want to touch a
Yeah.
friggin' axle bar. That's all it is. I am like, these hands and these nails are not designed for heat and an axle bar. Like, so many people were saying to
Yeah.
me, well, maybe if your nails were a bit shorter. I was like, no, it's just my grip is shit. Let's be real about this. Like I'm really making a hash job of this. So yeah, but I am with you as in the sunshine brings out better training in me. I do like it.
Yeah. 100%. No, I absolutely love it. Well, let's move on then into the actual questions of the podcast, shall we? And find out about what have been your strong woman highs.
Do you know, I thought long and hard about this one because I am fortunate that I have had a lot of things that I've really enjoyed. So it's not necessarily been a podium or a record, but I've just had some really great experiences with really great women, particularly. And I think it has to be that first Brits that I rocked up to. I had no idea what to expect. I've kind of got Sam Taylor to one side. I think Naomi Hadley was one of the girls, Michaela Pearson. And I was looking at these women being like, oh my God. And I took 4th in that. And it just meant the world to me. It just meant the world that I could just keep up with them and not be that far behind. And I know it's not about comparing yourself to other people, but they were like benchmark athletes for me. I just felt like if I can match that or be close to it, I feel like I belong. Like it was a really nice feeling. And I think it was a bit of an eye opener, as in, and I zeroed the log at Brits as well. And I always say at that competition, it's probably the best thing that ever happened to me, because I just went away and I trained so hard to become better. So that didn't happen again. And I won't be taking the same approach to Dinnies. I'm going to say that I just never want to do them again. But
Fair.
yeah, I loved that comp, and I loved like the women I was with, and yeah, it was a game changer. Just really changed my mindset.
Class, class. I love that. It's always those first big competitions,
Mm,
definitely like they spark, so they either spark something in you or they don't. And I think the ones that they spark in you where you're like, actually, yeah, I like
yeah,
this. This is a bit of me. Like the bit of pressure, the bit of like, oh my God, I'm up against like absolute savages here. That like the camaraderie that you have at those competitions, it's the little like change where you go, I love this actually. Like I am fully invested. Make this my entire life.
I think zeroing something as well. I don't know why in my mind I'd like created some kind of like Homer Simpson moment that everybody in the crowd was going to go, boo, get off the stage. No one gave a fuck. Like, no one cared. They were like, oh, well done,
Yeah.
you tried. But in my mind, I just felt like I'd become some social pariah. Like if I zeroed something at Brits, how would I ever live it down again? No one cared. People said, well done. And I just went and got stronger. Like, so when people
Yeah.
ask me that and they're like, oh, I don't know whether I should do this comp because I might zero that one event. And it's like, if that's all it is, do it. Like, yeah, don't let that stop you, because
100%.
yeah, like, and it's weird, but had I not gone through that, I probably would have been that athlete. Like, why would you want to zero on the live stream? Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, nobody, and I don't mean that in an awful way, but nobody cares. Like,
Yeah.
they're just like, well
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, 100%. I think everyone builds it up to be something big in their head that, like, that moment where you fail or if you zero something, it's going to be terrible. And I think, like, for me personally, like, I've benefited loads from this because I've been terrible at deadlifting. So most competitions, I mean, in the last however many years I've been competing, is I knew I was going to zero the deadlift. Like, I'd go in knowing there was no chance I'd get that. And I think that, like, has made me so much better at just dealing with it and going, oh, well, like, if it doesn't go to plan, oh, well, like, what's the worst that can happen? Like no one's actually that bothered. So like just crack on.
Yeah, and it's true. I think that advice that was given to me on Saturday was, it's really easy to win when you're winning, but actually the difference between an athlete that can still go on when they know that, when they know I can't do that, but I can't let this affect these other 4 events. You know, I've
Yeah.
messed up, but I've got to park it and I've got to come on. You know, that's to me the kind of athlete I want to be, because I'm not going to go into any competition and just be like, win, 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 win. Oh, that's nice, you know. And we wouldn't do things like that. So that kind of like, I guess it's tenacity, that way to be like, you know, let's go. Like, we got to bring it now. We've got to fight for this. I like that Rocky moment.
Yeah, 100%. And just being able to switch that on at comps as well and like focus in on like the almost the job at hand, but in an enjoyable way. I think
Oh,
it's finding that balance, isn't it? Of
yeah,
being like, yeah, I am actually here for fun. I actually enjoy doing this. Like this is something I
yeah,
do for fun. So if I have a bad event, I'm not gonna let that ruin the overall day. Like I'm gonna just move on and crack on with the next bit. And then like you've done, like reassess, go back, work on your weaknesses.
yeah. And I think that kind of balance of realizing that these people are competitors, but they're not my enemies. Like, I can say to someone, like, you know, like somebody got upset that they didn't get the podium on Saturday, but I understand that they were a serious athlete who had tried really hard. Now, that's no shade on anyone else, just because they put, you know, they've tried so hard and they were disappointed, and they're not being a dick. They just were, you know, they were gutted, and I think it's okay to be like, oh man, like, you know, I was so angry with myself after the Dinny event, but I'm angry with myself. I'm not like, you know, giving anyone else a hard time or ruining it for them, but I don't have to hide it as well. I can just be like, oh my God, I'm devastated at that. Like,
Yeah.
take it seriously as the men seem to have permission. There still seems to be like a little bit of kind of, oh, you know, oh, she was a woman that showed that kind of emotion and hunger for wanting to do well. Like, you know, that's odd. Whereas I like it when the women I mix with are like, no, I fucking want that. I've trained really hard for that. I expected to do better than that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really interesting point that I've never actually thought about that, 'cause I don't think I'm trying to think if there's ever been a moment in a comp where I've been, like, really annoyed that I haven't done something before I hypocrite myself straight away to be like, "Ah, I just don't really care." But there's been points I've been disappointed, and I never really show it. Like, I don't really
Mhm.
show it at competitions. I'm not good at that type of thing. Oh, no, Natty Worlds I cried at. That one where I pulled out in the end. I did cry at that because I was just like, "This is so, like, shit," and I was just
Yeah.
doing terribly at it. But I do think it is interesting because, yeah, if you see men throw a fit and, like, kick off a little bit, like, it's just like, oh, well, it's just strong on that, isn't it? But if you
Mhm.
see a woman do it, everyone's like, oh my God, what's wrong with her?
It is like I've heard people be like, "Oh, too much gear," and it's like, no, there's somebody who's trained for the past 6 months has got that lift over and over and over again, and it's fucked up on the. Why wouldn't they be disappointed? Like it
Yeah.
is there is this kind of certainly in my experience, I find there is this expectation that women should just be like, "Oh, it's okay. I don't want to make a fuss, so I'll just I'll take my failed lift and just go off round the side with my sandwich." Well, we should be like, for fuck's sake, like, I can do that. I can do that. And I'm annoyed.
Yeah.
But like you say, it's managing it. It's then being like, but I've got to come back harder now. I can't waste that energy.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I do think as well, I think the community, like we say this all the time, and this is obviously like it always ties into the highs part of this podcast, like the community that you have of women around you. Like I know when I was competing yesterday, like everyone we all had like a right laugh and there was like loads of banter of us all rinsing each other about who's gonna win what and what's gonna happen, all that sort of stuff. And it was right good crack. But like when it got down to it and the events were happening, like the train pull at the end was actually probably the hardest pull I think any of us have ever done in our lives. Like I've never pulled something so heavy. Like it just wouldn't, and it never got easy. You know, when you start a truck pull usually and you're like, get it going and it's all right then, isn't it? And you're just like cracking on.
I've never had.
Nah, it was like,
I'm always that person still there, being like, it's not moving. Like, so,
yeah, that's
hey.
Yeah, that's where it was yesterday. It just never moved. And literally all of that, like every girl that was there was around, like screaming at each other, just like, keep going, keep
Yeah.
moving, like trying to give each other tips. And I was just like, that's the community vibe that I love in this sport. Like, it's just all the women, like, yes, we can give each other shit. We can like be a bit funny, like competitive and like have a bit of a laugh about it. But at the end of the day, it's like, it is all just support. Like everyone just wants everyone to do well.
Yeah. Yeah, I really believe like the women I have in my life, I'm so, so blessed to have the strongest women in every aspect of life. It's not just physical, it's like the mental, it's emotional. Like, and when those women are winning and they are doing well, like I've always said, if there's a woman lifting heavier than me in the gym, then I've got nothing but love and respect for that because she's raising the bar for all of us women. Like when someone sees that, it's not about me and my ego. It's about somebody being like, oh my God, look at that woman. And that's
Yeah.
what we need. We need those, we can't just cap ourselves. Like we need those really strong women to come through in each aspect of strongman and show the girls that are watching, the boys that are watching, like, actually, this is what these are the women we're aspiring to be. So, not the
Hell
women
yeah.
I mentioned earlier where we just kind of suck it up and go, "Oh, yeah, sorry, sir." Like, I'll get out your way. We're
Yeah,
here taking up space.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I love that. Absolutely love that. Have you got any other highs then before we ruin the vibes and move on to the lows?
I'll just get my box of tissue and start crying. Yeah, I was like, "Oh, an hour of therapy. This will be nice." Um,
I don't think people will be paying me for therapy. They'll be asking for the money back.
people would watch me and be like, my life isn't that shit. I'm doing all right. I actually, this woman is showing me that I got a pretty good deal here. I'll take it. Um, I've been lucky enough to go to Worlds, to just that. I think I would be a knobhead and a liar if I didn't say that was one of the greatest things. And again, like the women in my life stepped up. They helped me with childcare. They took me to they brought me back from the airport. They did everything they could do to support me. And when I was out there, you know, they were texting me being like, don't worry about your mum, about your boys. Like, you're showing them what a mum can do. And just all those little doubts that I was having when I was like, oh my God, like, I'm here, I've left my boys, I'm spending this money, I'm taking it away from them. They just nailed it and came in and just propped me up so I could go and, you know, like when I got to the airport and I shared a taxi with Mark Felix to the hotel, and I'm there thinking, this is mental. Like, I've had these opportunities and like mixed with people. And I don't know if it was, I was always told that in like Las Vegas in the casinos, they pump out this kind of air conditioning to like keep people gambling and keep people awake. And I felt like at that competition, like whatever was in the air was just being pumped out to make me stronger and better and braver. And I just soaked it all up. It wasn't about me and where I came in the rankings. It was just like, I've done something really brave that I never thought I would do. And people would give their right arm to experience. And I just went and did it. And yeah, just was like, stuck two fingers up to the air and was like, let's go do this. So yeah, I loved it.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, absolutely love that. The Worlds is just, I know it's expensive and it's a lot of money, and it's like sometimes a nightmare going across there and all that jazz. And there's always drama about it, but it's a special competition, OSG Worlds, isn't it? Like, it is just sick. I loved it when I went.
And like that pinnacle, and you just kind of think, yeah, I did it. And when I look back, I will just be, I pushed it as far as I could do, which is sometimes my downfall in life. I do like to push things a bit far, but I was like, yeah, I went and did it. And I didn't let my fear stop me. So I just kind of
Hell
tackled it. And
yeah.
I think that was the thing from it. It was the hardest competition, not as in terms of the weights, just as in everything that I had to manage. It was all fine. You know, my
Yeah.
children survived. They had a great time. I had a great time, and it just put all these fears I had to bed. So it was a really great experience.
Yeah, amazing. I love that. Right. Well, let's ruin the good vibes now then and
Yes.
move on to your strong woman lows, shall we? What have
Oh,
been the shit bits?
oh, do you know, I I picked up a really nasty injury. Well, for me, certainly in my knee, and I'd always seen myself as like a deadlifter. That was the thing I was. I was this deadlifter. And I'd managed to get to, I think I pulled like 200 kilograms raw a couple of times and I hurt my knee, and I could barely, when I went back to training, like lift 120, like, and I just this kind of crisis of my identity and who I was. And that was so hard because I'd almost told myself, you will be a deadlifter. And I gave myself permission for not being very good at overhead because I was like, well, it's okay because you deadlift. So it's absolutely fine. And then suddenly I was in this situation where I couldn't deadlift and I was a really shit overhead lifter. And then I was like, what the hell am I going to do? And I just had to, in that time, work on my deadlifts, but I had to get stronger in my upper body. And again, it was really scary. And I felt really vulnerable, like doing these things, because even though nobody cared, obviously in my little mind, I'd convinced myself that every person in the world was watching, waiting for me to fail overhead lifts. Um, but it was a really good opportunity to just come back stronger as an overhead lifter and not just pigeonhole myself, put myself in that one box of what I thought I could do, and be like a little bit more universal, a little bit more, I guess, open-minded for when things, you know, you have to change plan and you are thinking, what am I going to do now? But it was a horrible time. It was a really hard time not being able to deadlift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always, I think that is always a lot of like, I mean, we speak about it a lot on the podcast of lows being like that injury that sets you back, but it's awesome that you're able to like reframe that as like, yeah, this might feel like a setback, but how do we like use this as a way to push forward instead? Like, where are the other areas that I can work on? And that's like, that's the way forward in this sport, isn't it? That's the longevity that we talk about in this sport, is being able to pivot and turn a bad situation into a good one almost.
Yeah. And it kind of reinvented me because I was sitting at about 85 kilograms then, I knew for my frame that I'd got bigger than I needed, than really my body needed to be. And at that point, I was like, I'm going back to the under 73s. So in that time, I dropped down to the under 73s. I had some quite negative people saying to me, you can't get smaller in strongman. You're going to get weaker. This is really going to mess with you. You can't do this. But in my heart, I knew under 73s is where my body worked best. And I
Yeah.
also, the people who believed in me, I was like, yeah, you know what you're talking about. I will listen to your voice. And yeah, when I got to the under 73s, my deadlift, raw deadlift was then 220 by the time I'd done that. And then I was like, this proves that actually, my body got injured because it was bigger and all I was doing was max deadlifting. I wasn't training like a proper athlete. So I had to just really like throw the book out the window, burn it, pick up the ashes, like put it together and just be like, right, how's this going to work? And again, that it was a good experience because I was like, oh, actually, I could do that. I didn't think I could do it, but I did it and it was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, class. I love that. And it is right. Like I know that the whole like everyone goes on the mass moves, mass taught thing, and but like it's that just isn't. I don't think that's relevant at all in strongman anymore. I think the way that strongman is changing now is it is so much more athletic.
Yeah.
Like you're better off being a little bit lighter, and you can still keep that same level of strength, but you need to be able to move. Strongman, like most of the time, 3 out of 5 events in a comp are going to be moving. Like you're
Yeah.
going to have to move, and it's going to be fast.
Yeah.
So like you're leaving loads of points out on the table if you just plan on being a big static monster. Like if you're going to do that, go and do powerlifting.
Yeah. And Kat came to watch us at the weekend and I said to her, oh, I was hoping you were going to be competing because she's so badass. And like she pointed this out when I said to her, my mindset had to be for this year that I've got to get better again across 5 events. Cause I used to go in and be like, yeah, hit the first one, hit the second one. I get to the third one and I'd be like, are we done? Like I need to go home now. Like, and then everything, like it became arduous because then I was struggling and then I was losing points. And then I was almost like I'd just thrown it away. So even though, yes, the Dinnies went wrong on Saturday, the one thing I was pleased about is that I went with the same level of energy for all 5 events. And that was a big thing for me because I hadn't been fit enough in previous years. I'd been all about 2 max static movements. And then I'd almost been a bit like, oh, yeah, just kick the sandbag along. Like, I'd just been like a little bit like, oh, right, okay. But now I know, especially like girls like Kat and Tiff, if I'm going against them, I've got to move. I have to be able to, I've got to be fit enough and I've got to be light enough to move. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that was a really odd thing for me to get my head around. And I still haven't know. I will still have people say to me, oh, if you put on 10 kilograms, your deadlift might go up 10 kilograms. And I'm just like, thanks.
I
I'm
don't
sure
need that though.
I did it. Like, I'm sure it's that simple. you know.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. It's crazy, isn't it? It's wild. But I do think, yeah, strongman nowadays it's so much more athletic. And like you said as well, that endurance base of making it through 5 events. Like if you're not training in a way that makes it easy for you to get through 5 events in a day, whether that's in a short 3-hour like block or whether that's across a full day where they've spread it out, like you need to know that your body's going to hold up for that amount of time. And that's again a big thing I think that's missed in strongman is training for that level of endurance to like keep yourself fresh so that by that final event you've still got like beans left in the tank to go, right, send it, let's go.
And the thing, the gym that I train at is a very kind of, I'd say, old school bodybuilding, almost like West Side barbell approach. And I mean, it made me laugh so much. But the guy who owns the gym, I just remember him saying to me, Lucy, if you can only get 2 events and need to have a fucking Sunday roast dinner to get your energy back up to get through the past 3, you're not training hard enough. And he is like that. He will be like, nope, like, you eat later. And yes, we need to eat in competitions. But again, he changed that mindset of if you just eat well and you train hard, you're not going to go to a competition and need 50 bags of Haribo to get through the competition. Like you should be fitter than that. And I just needed that old school mentality to be like, shut the fuck up and move, move.
Yeah. I love that. Absolutely love that. It's class. Well, then I think those weren't bad lows at all. You've turned those around to be almost highs. I think they weren't proper lows at all.
I mean, I probably got them, but I probably just fucking like parked them and just been like ignored them. There's probably, I don't know, there's probably so many things I haven't got a clue that have gone wrong, and everyone's like, "Oh, is that the girl who's like trousers split on the live stream?" And I'm like, "Oh, did they? Oh, never mind. Let's go."
Don't need to worry about that. No, I love it. This is what I love about the podcast, though. And when I originally came up with the concept of like asking for lows and stuff, I was like, I wonder what'll come up in this. But it feels like most of the time now, people are just like, yeah, well, it's sort of bad, but it's not really that bad. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I like to hear.
I think that is honestly the mindset why I do what I did. You know, I've gone through so many awful things that have really been bad in life, that if someone says to me, pick up a rock and put it on your shoulder, I'm like, was that it? Okay. Like, yes, it might scratch my arm. Yes, it will cut my face. But there's nothing compared to the serious problems people have in life. I choose to do this sport. I put myself in this situation. And of course, there are hard things that come with it. But always that frame of reference of being like, yeah, do you know what? It's okay. Like this is temporary. It'll be all right. There'll be another comp. There'll be another training session. And we are blessed for that. We are so bloody lucky to do what we do.
Yeah, 100%. Totally agree. So, well, let's move on to the final serious question of the podcast then. So, what would you say to yourself when you first started the sport?
That kind of, that I've touched upon a few times. Nobody cares. Like you can put yourself in these scenarios in your head and be like, everybody wants me to lose. Everybody expects me to win. Everybody thinks this, and they don't. They're just going about doing their training, minding their own business. People will talk shit. That's what people do. But really, it is not these, nobody is thinking about you as much as you think about you. And I think if you can just let it go and be like, yeah, do you know what, like I'm desperate to try and get the masters lightweight deadlift record this year. And again, it's hard because there's a lot of juggling. I've got to do it in the right place. I've got to make sure the weight's on point. I've got to make sure my children are looked after. So it's not easy just to be like, oh, I'll do it then. There's a little bit more juggling. And somebody was like, what if you don't get it? Helpful question. And I was like, yeah, well, so what? Like my deadlift's gone up. So I can either be like, oh my God, like, well, I won't leave the house again and I'll quit the sport. Or I can be like, well, I've still got a stronger deadlift and a better body and I'm a better mum than I was then. So what? Like, you know, and I guess that's the thing. I don't think in 10 years time, people are going to be like, oh, wow, do you remember Thor at the Enhanced Games? And do you remember Lucy Hardwick failed that lift? Like nobody gives a shit about me. Like they really don't. So I've got that privilege of being like, let's just be brave and have some fun. And nobody really is going to care. It's not going to change anyone's life. It's fine. So yeah, it isn't. Yeah, don't make things a bigger deal than what they are. It'll all be fine. That's what I say.
I love that. Absolutely love that. And I love the bit you said as well about like nobody thinks about you as much as you do. Like, that is so true. That hit me so hard that I was like, oh my God, that is so true. Because like it is absolutely right. You'll be there thinking, oh my God, like I always think it, you know, when you get those little black hairs on your chin and like you realize you've got them and you're like, oh my God, everyone will have been looking at these all day. I can't believe they've been on here. And then I'm literally like, have I ever noticed that on anybody else? No.
Yeah.
So is anyone going to have noticed that?
Yeah.
No.
I look at my comp photos and I'm like, oh my God, like the way that the belt was, that maybe like made me look like this. What if everybody's thinking this? And I'm like, I do not think, and if anybody does this, they're a fucking weirdo. Anyone is like looking at my photos being like, oh, like, oh, look, she's got a little, it's a bit of a bulge there. Like, nobody cares. Like,
No.
and it's a very liberating feeling. And I think you have a much higher quality of life. It's not when you don't give a shit, because I care deeply about my children and the mother I am and the opinion that people have of me as a mother. And if somebody was to criticize that, I am going to get prickly because I care about it so much. But as in terms of my strongman, career, no one gives a fuck. Like, it is not making a difference in any way. So yeah, I think I take what I do seriously, as in give the bar respect and give the weights respect, but I just don't take myself very seriously. So
Yeah.
as you can tell.
No. I think that's class. I love that advice. It's so good. Absolutely class. Well, is there any final strongman stuff you'd like to talk about then before we move on to the final part of the podcast, the silliest part?
Oh, I don't think so. I mean, I would just take the opportunity. You will know this, but I think we are incredibly blessed and incredibly lucky that we do have so many people that promote the sport and promote it for us as women. Like, I've met some great strong men who treat me with so much more respect than like your average Joe on the street does. And I feel really lucky for that, because these people with these men in these positions could just be like, oh, well, they're the women and, they're not world's strongest men, but they don't. Like, I've just met guys who really care about what we do and really want us to be strong and promote this. And I think, again, that's the fear I hear with women. They're like, oh, I don't want to go in that gym with those big men. The big men with muscles are not the assholes here. They're the ones wanting us to go and do it. And yeah, we really, anyone that has those doubts about, being the smallest or weakest person in the gym, that's the place you need to be. That is what's going to make you great. Don't be the strongest person in the gym. Us women, we don't want to be in that gym. We're the strongest one. Well, unless you're Lucy or Rebecca or Andrea, then I'd take that.
Yeah, I love that. No, it's class. Right. Well, let's move on to the final part of the podcast then. Everybody's favorite, the silly goose section.
Silly goose. It's silly goose time, where our lips get loose and our minds run free. Silly goose. It's silly goose time, where we chat a load of shit that's of absolutely no use. It's silly goose time.
So, do you have a silly goose question you'd like to bring to the table?
Yeah. So I was like, I wrote a list and I was like, yeah, 90% of these will get you shut down. So I parked those. But this is a topic I'm really interested in. So when I started Strongman, people would often tell me this story that Eddie Hall would say, if he needed to do a big lift, he always thought, if I needed to pick a car off my child, that's the mindset I'd take myself to. I'd go there. So I used to I read a bit about this concept called hysterical strength. So that's what that is called. So I wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts on hysterical strength? Because I've had this conversation with a lot of people. So I know.
Interesting. Because so I've never, I understand, like, obviously I've heard of hysterical strength and like I've seen it before as well. Like I've seen it in people. Like it's a like a bit of a phenomenon thing, isn't it? It's like that mother lifting a car off the kid type of thing. But yeah, I do definitely believe it's a thing, but I think it's difficult. So I think I would really struggle to tap into that because I couldn't make myself, I couldn't psych myself up enough into that situation to do that. I was going to say I don't have the things that I care about enough, but that sounds really awful. No,
it's
I
weird.
do.
It's very because I find that with my deadlifts, it's a fine line between I get emotional, so I can't tip it too far because I can get a bit teary. I mean, I have laughed with my friends. I've been like, knowing my fucking kids, they put the car on themselves. So I would be like, I'd just be like, oh my God, like, what have you done? Bollocking them. But in all seriousness, it is a fine balance between, because I will think like that. I will be like, my youngest son was so poorly. I use a bit of that energy to be like, I remember how hard it was to when he was so poorly and it was touch and go, but I can't fully take myself there because I'm not going to like stand on the deadlift platform and cry. Just be like, "Hi, everyone." Well, I probably will one day, but I remember like because you touched upon that, like it's that kind of like the phenomenon. I can't even say that word, phenomenon, but you can't scientifically prove it, can you? You can't prove that person lifted a car off that person because of this hysterical strength. But I remember reading that the reason the illustrator of The Incredible Hulk designed them the way that The Incredible Hulk looks is the urban legend is that they saw this happen. They saw a mother lift a car, and that's where the whole kind of like Hulk, idea of like coming out of yourself comes from. And I think it's fascinating. And I know women that I've spoken to about it who actually are quite offended by the term hysterical strength because they don't like that way that hysterical is used about women. And they find it quite offensive because it is seen such like an insulting word
Yeah.
towards women. So they say, isn't it remarkable that this is such a great thing, but yet there is this kind of undertone of the language that they don't like about it. But then I've met people who like just don't believe it, and they're like, no, they don't believe it's true at all. But I think it could be done. Like I would say that in all seriousness, even though my kids are shits, I would do whatever I needed to do. Like if I had to lift that car, I would do it. And I
Yeah.
can't prove it, but I will happily say it and be like, yeah. And I do try and tap into it a bit, but it would be amazing. Obviously, you don't want to see it, but it would just be lovely to kind of, if you could just see what goes through someone's brain and like,
To know, yeah.
yeah, the kind of, because what would it be? Adrenaline? Like, what happens in that
Yeah.
moment, that spike that somebody could lift a car off someone. So, yeah.
I do think it is a thing though, that because isn't it that so your brain will shut off like your we're so much stronger. We have like so much untapped potential, but
Mhm.
our brain has a shut off switch for like consequence where it goes like, no, that's too much consequence. Like you have to stop now, and your brain will shut off that level of strength. So I'm sure like if you look, I mean, this is like, this isn't proper science. No one take my word for what I'm about to say now, but I'm sure I've looked into this
We're
before.
not medical doctors, guys, just in case you thought we weren't. Like, we're not.
We're not, we're not doctors, we're not scientists, but I'm sure that it's that adrenaline shut off, and it's the same thing, when people use smelling salts and you like attack that fight or flight response. So it's that like shutting off everything, getting your brain to quiet so that you then can tap into that like extra level of strength. And I do think that's 100% true. Like I use smelling salts. I'm not a big smelling salts person because I'm a bit like you. I can't get too hyped. Like I can't
Mhm.
get too angry. I can't get too aggressive before lifts because it actually just throws me off. Like it's too much. Like when I see people banging their heads against wall and getting like stomping around, I'm like that. I couldn't do that because I'd instantly just be like, I'm being stupid. I can't get away with this. Like I just laugh. Like, yeah, it doesn't work. I've used smelling salts recently a couple of times when I've been doing that max silver dollar deadlift training, and it does like I've found it doesn't work for me on overhead because it just makes my eyes water and then I can't see. So like that doesn't work at all. But for like a big deadlift, I actually do think it's made a big difference of me just being able to switch my brain off and not think about something. And like so it's got to be true, that hysterical strength phenomenon. I'm 100% behind it. I don't want to ever have to find out. But
that is the thing where it's like, I don't actually want to put myself in that situation, but I'd love to just see it and see. But I
yeah.
guess because like there are things that people take that shuts, like, I've loads of guys have told me about stuff that they would take that would like, just like shut the receptors off in their brain. So there clearly is, it clearly is a thing because that's our undoing, isn't it? We cap ourselves because we're saying this is heavy, I can't lift it, I can't do it. Whereas actually we can
Yeah.
do these things. So yeah, I would agree with you, and maybe that's where I'm going wrong. I'm probably using smelling salts on the overhead. I'll blame my shocking overhead on smelling salts. I'll be like, yeah, that's why. Like,
Well,
I'm
this is
just terrible.
This is another interesting point, though. I had this conversation with Jade Skill yesterday about overhead, because she was saying about her overhead's really difficult, and she struggles as she gets it to her chest of just being like, "Oh fuck, this is really heavy," and then not being able to press. And like I was saying to her yesterday, so I still get that. Like my overhead is decent, like
Mhm.
it is good. But sometimes I'll clean a log, and like I did it yesterday. I cleaned the log outside, and I thought, "Fuck, this is heavy." It was like 75 kilos. But I've got a really good trick where I can just shut my brain off and think punch, and literally like, because I think because I've done it so many times now, my brain just goes, even though it's heavy, I just think punch, you can probably hit that. And it's like almost tricking your brain into going, now you need to think this thought at that moment in time to override the other stuff. Because if your brain's thinking, oh God, this is really heavy, I'm not going to be able to do this, 100% you can't do it. Like 100% you won't be able to do it, because your brain's already made that decision for you. Whereas if you can tell your brain to go, no, don't think that way, think this way instead, you'll probably do it. Like it's basic, like, I don't know, hypno. Chloe Brennan would be able to explain this. Like,
No, because that's what I do with my deadlifts. My deadlifts are a state of flow. I know where I'm going. My hands go on. Just before I lift it, I am like, I'm in my brain saying, fucking rip it. If this deadlift is going up, I've never questioned it. But like Jade, and that's why I love standing next to Jade, us tallies, we're kind of like, well, yeah, we're like, when you guys have done the bloody log, Jade and I are still lifting it up our body, being like, right, I feel like we're doing a marathon. And then we're like, and now 6'5" is going to go up into the air. And that's what I always think. I like to stand next to Jade and be like, yeah, I'll look up and be like, it's okay. We will be able to do this one day. We just need a bit more time. I think her and I should have an extra 30 seconds because we're taller.
yeah, she is so tall. Like, she's a legend. Yesterday, she threw a 25 kilo sandbag over 3.5 meters. And I was just like, oh my God, you are a savage. Like,
I just love her. And I love the way she competes as well. I've done one competition. We both did the Haynes Farm. And I just I love her attitude. I love how she is. It is just like, yeah, she's great. And like you saying that about the sandbag, that doesn't surprise me. I'm like, she could probably throw me over. It
yeah,
wouldn't shock me.
she's a legend. Yeah,
Yeah,
she's.
she is.
I said to her yesterday, like, you're going to be so good. Like, I know this has just turned into a We Love Jade podcast, but I said to her yesterday, I was like, a couple of years, mate, and you are going to be unbeatable. Like,
I'm
you
gonna have
are
a
so
restraining
legit.
order come through the post in a few weeks from Jay. She'll be like, we met once. Can you stop talking about me on a podcast?
All right, I'll get one too. These fucking weirdos talking about me all the time.
No, but she would. I would agree with that. But like that kind of, and again, that newbie word sounds such like a dick, condescending thing. But it's also like, oh wow, like she is a bit of a newbie. But it's like, man, like I think she pulled like a 200-kilogram axle deadlift at Paddy's comp, and I was like, oh wow, wish I'd done that in my first couple of years. Like, well done, that's
Yeah.
pretty good. So yeah.
It's exciting to see how deep the talent pool is now getting, isn't it? Every year I think there's so many new exciting faces coming through, and there's so many strong women coming through, and it's just class to see. Like, you can see how cool like this sport is going to be in the next few years. Every year it gets better and better and bigger, and I'm just like, yeah, boy, this is
Yeah.
class.
And I think it is. It's like us women, and there's always going to be exceptions. Like you can't, I would never pretend to anyone that you're going to go to a comp and everyone's going to cheer you and everyone's going to love you. But we're talking the majority. The majority of people are just doing their thing, but they are loving other women doing great as well. Like, they're not nasty. They're not dicks. They're just there for a laugh and a day out. And if they don't cheer at your lift, it's because they were probably like on their phone or eating a sandwich. Like, it is not, it's not
Yeah.
everybody wants you to do badly. Like, I think we are a really great community and a really good group of women. I do feel really lucky and really blessed. So
Hell yeah, me too. I love it. This has been such an uplifting podcast. I feel really, especially after competing yesterday, like this feels like this has been an uplifting conversation, this, Lucy. I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
You asked Loz what I was like Saturday afternoon after those dinny walks. Like, you got the good side of her, because I think she was like ready to move to Iceland and be like, I'm just going to go and train with Thor and just be like, I only want to deadlift ever again. So yeah, bit of reflection. So I'm coming out the other side now. So I'm glad you got this side.
Hell yeah, we love it. We absolutely love it. Now, so where can people find you then if they want to follow along with your journey? And if you've got anything to promote, or if you've got any final words for the podcast, then let us know now.
Well, so look at me, like, because I'm really old, I know all about Instagram. My Instagram handle, is that what the kids call it? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Like yeah, I had to look. I knew it was Mummy Bear, but I never knew what's at the end of it. Mummy Bear 682. But I got a nice message from Paddy on the weekend saying that something he would like to start at his farm. It's just a bit of a girls' training day, girls only, not in a negative way, but just to get more people growing in their confidence. Maybe we'll probably start off with once a month, just get people having a go, talking to other people, a bit like what we've done now is just saying, actually, yeah, people are nervous. It is okay to feel like that. Everything's valid, but also it will be fine. Don't let it stop you doing it. So I think he's going to start something soon. So keep an eye out there, and I'll tell him that I mentioned it on here. So yeah, he'll be like, what the fuck? Next restraining order. Yeah, that's about it really. Just I can't even think. I don't even know what my next competition is, but hopefully something deadlift related and heavy. 1 rep. That's what I want now. Just do something once.
Hell yeah. We love that. We love that. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast, Lucy. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Oh, thank you. And you came highly recommended by Maxine. She said I was going to love it. And I think
hell yeah.
Yeah, she was like, oh, you won't be as bad as me. And then that made me be like, oh, that's all right then. So let's do it. No, but thank you.
It was fine anyway.
Oh, I'll tell her that. She'll love it.
So thank you very much, everybody, for listening, and we'll see you all on the next one. Goodbye. Thanks for listening to this episode of Strongwoman Highs, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to support the podcast, then please give us a follow on Instagram. Or if you would like, we're also on buymeacoffee.com/strongwomanhighs. This is where you can send us tips, or you can also join our membership area, which is $5 a month or £4 a month. It's the silly gosling level. We'll post out any extra content that we get on there, and hopefully a few little free giveaways of things as well. The podcast currently doesn't cost a lot to run, which is what we're trying to keep it as, but we would like to be able to cover our costs, and also once those costs are covered, any profit that is made on Strongwoman Highs will be getting saved up and put into a pot for future Strongwoman competitions that we can sponsor. So if you have a Strongwoman competition that you'd like to be sponsored, or if you want to be on the podcast, then give us a shout, send me a message on Instagram or on YouTube, anywhere else you can get us, and we'll get it sorted, because the more women that we can get on, the better. Thanks for listening and watching. Bye!